Welcome to the great Aussie compost worm race. Yes, 3 sets of tigers in 3 sets of trays in 3 sets of ages, all in different development, competing for the prize. Watch the video to find out more, guys. Marty's Garden is all about compost worms, composting, farming worms indoors and out, and growing some of the most awesome food around. You can learn how by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Man, oh man, this is exciting stuff, guys. This could possibly be the first ever worm race in YouTube history. Now, so what's the go? What's the gist with it? Well, I've got 3 trays here. They've all got the same amount of bedding in there, but they've all got different types of, not different types of worms, the same type of worm, but all different ages and sizes in each tray. And what I've done is I've fed them exactly the same amount of food. Pumpkin and apple. I've chopped it up really, really fine and put it inside an avocado shell. And so what's going to happen now is they're all going to compete to see who eats it faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit of a rundown here, guys, on who are competing for this prize. Now the prize is half an avocado that I cut out just before at the end of the win. But that's going to be a way off yet. So just you got to keep watching here to find out who's going to win. Now, tray 1, what I want you to do is now comment down below after you hear these ones, so you know who's going to win. You vote for your tiger team, right? They're all tiger worms, so they're all tiger teams. Now, tray 1, they are called the outsiders, and they came from outside in like a drum down below my compost tumbler, right? So I got 250 tiger worms of all ages, and these guys are hungry, looking for action. Tray number 2, the tumblers. These actually come out of the tumblers. I had a worm explosion of babies, and I got 500 baby worms hungry and ready to go. Now I've hand counted all these myself. I know there's exactly 500 there. Tray 3, the OUTBACK kings. Fully mature worms ready to feed and breed. And these came from my windrows outside when I'm harvesting my compost. So, and I've counted them to 100 also, and these are big fat breeders. Well, the biggest ones that I could find, and I've put them in there. So each tray will receive a small handful of grated pumpkin and apple placed inside an avocado skin. Alright guys, it's now time to put down who you think is going to win in the comments box down below. So it's a tray 1, the outsiders, the mix of 250 tiger worms, hungry and looking for action. Tray 2, the tumblers, 500 baby worms, hungry and ready to grow. Or tray 3, the OUTBACK kings, 100 fully mature worms ready to breed and feed. And it's day 2, time to check up. I wonder who is in the lead. So it's time to get back inside and take a good check and see who really is in front. So we're into day 2, and we've got some really cool stuff going on underneath this blanket. I've had to put them under the blanket because I'm worried about them trying to escape and different things, and I'm trying to keep them all together nice and happy. Now, coming up later in the video, which is going to be really cool about the race, they're going to reveal and talk about why I think there's different levels of food being eaten in the 3 different trays. But anyway, let's get into it and see what they've eaten today. It's been 1 day, 24 hours since they've been fed. Alright, so we're going to open the first tray. This is the outsiders. This is the very first tray that I started. And we're going to have a look and see how much these guys have eaten. So Karen's going to come in a bit closer with the camera now. She's on my camera, girl. Now remember, the outsiders has 250 of all different sizes. Oh, you can see that, yeah, they're moving through that material. You can see some worms there. And that's looking like, wow, they've eaten nearly half of that already. That's pretty amazing. So let's go over. We'll put the lid back on. We don't want to disturb these guys too much. Let's move over to tray 2. This is the tumblers. Now, these got mostly babies and immature worms in them. And we're going to see how these guys are going. Now, they should be pretty hungry because babies like to eat a lot to grow, right? So let's have a look. Now remember, we're going to be discussing why we think these options are what they are and the reasons behind them. Now they've all dug down because we had a little open of this before. Well, you can see a couple of little worms in there. They're immature. They don't have the big bulb on them yet. And there obviously hasn't been as much food eaten. Like not even half, really. So we'll cover that back over. So, geez. These guys, tray 2, are not doing as good as tray 1, the tumblers. Now, let's have a look at the big guns. Tray 3. Now, tray 3 are the Outback Kings from outside, and they've been living in the compost rows, and they're heavy feeders, and they're quite big, and they've all got they're all breeders. They're all pretty good size. Now, a few of them have gone down because we opened this up before just to organise and shuffle the trays around. So they've been disturbed a little bit, but we're going to have a look here. Whoa, look at that. Now, are there any worms? Yeah, there's a worm hanging around the side there. Yeah, they've eaten a bit more than the other ones. So we've got tray 1 is definitely in the lead for the moment. The Outback Kings, there could be some reasons why they're not feeding on that as much as the other worms. So Khan's going to step back with the video now. We've got the 3 trays happening here. This is a pretty cool race, and it's looking like we're going to know who's going to win, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to come back tomorrow and check this out. Then we're going to discuss about the different sizes of the worms in here, the reasons for why they're eating, why I believe they're eating, and I'll get your share and your feedback in here as well in the comments box down below. And keep voting for your teams, because you just never know, they may get hungry overnight. Now remember, this is the most established tray. It's been in here the longest inside the house. So these guys are well and truly established. Number 2 was the second established tray, which is established only a day before this one. So they're still settling in, which means they may get hungry and want to eat more food. So we had a bit of a hiccup, guys, coming in to day number 3. Now what was happening was the outsiders were well and truly in the lead and had consumed probably 2/3 of it. The tumblers, they still had quite a lot left. So the baby worms, they were hooking in, but they weren't seeming as interested as what I thought. And then we had the Outback Kings, they're pretty much online with the baby worms, like the immature worms, the tumblers. So outsiders were well and truly in the lead. And anyway, I was called up. They said, yep, surf's on. We got a comp on today. Come down, Marty, and ride in the Board Riders Club, which I just joined again recently. I went surfing with the guys and waiting for day 4 for the final event. So we're actually into day 4 now. So the great race is carrying on. We've got tray number 1, the outsiders, tray number 2, the tumblers, and tray number 3, the Outback King. So I'm going to take this sign off here. That's our racing sign. We'll put it down here on the ground, and we will take drum roll. How's that song? That's funny. All right, so let's see what we got in here. Now I have checked them earlier, just quickly, but I didn't lift the avocado, so I don't know. The outside is looking pretty healthy. Look at the nice big, yeah. Now these are all different range of different sizes, right? So let's have a look here. Oh, geez. And inside the avocado. And let's stir around a bit. Yeah, you can see That's nearly all done. And look at all these lovely castings over on the top of the bottom of the paper. So very cool. Let's move in to the tumblers. The tumblers are just the immature worms. There's lots of little baby ones in here and immature worms. So I'm going to roll this back drum roll again. Dun, 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 dun. Sounds like a cowboy movie that I used to know. And look, there's a big one that's snuck in there. A couple of big ones that have snuck in there. How dare they do that? Oh, still a bit left, but look, there was a handful there as you saw in the beginning, so they're doing quite well on that. Let's stir around a bit. That'll be gone, I reckon, in about a day. Let's get the lids off here. Oopsie daisy. Put them over here and we'll have a look at the big guns, the big boys. The Outback Kings come from the windrows. I do all my major composting. And most of them gone down. I disturbed them before. And look at that. No, there's been a mix up here, guys. I'm very sorry. This tray, it's not the Outback Kings. This is the tumblers tray. This is the tumblers tray, the baby worms. Okay, so the babies are in second. The tumblers are in second. The Outback Kings are in definitely in a third here place. This is looking very, very interesting. So guys, I've decided to pull the pin on the race early because we're pretty sure we've got an overall winner that's just been smashing it out of the ballpark, and that is tray number 1, the Outsiders, from the trough below the tumbler. Yep, they're just a free-range worm. They just eat whatever I give them. They've pretty much just been feeding on sugarcane, a bit of leaf mulch, bit of coffee, a little bit of everything really. And then probably cruising up and down from the tumbler as well and getting food out of there, so they're just moving up and down in that system. And you know, like, wow, there's 250 of them in a little tray, so I'd say that's probably the reason why tray number 1 won. Now, tray number 2 is a little bit different because they're the tumblers, all the baby and new worms, and I've been told that the new worms, the younger ones, want to feed really heavily because they want to grow quickly. So that was my concern. I thought, you know what, they just may, 500 of them just may beat tray number 1. And then tray number 3, like we've got big larger worms and they consume more because one worm will eat nearly 2/3 or more of its weight in day. I thought, you know, there's a lot of contenders on here and a lot of way up possibilities. But tray number 1, the Outsiders, had a tray that had been there for about a week, and they may have been eating through the bedding much earlier, and they're used to being fed in the centre, so they're continually going to the centre already. Where in tray number 2 and 3, they hadn't really been fed much in the centre, they weren't used to going to that spot to get food as much, and they were obviously eating fresher food through the trays as well. And it could have been a thing, something else there, but I'd like to hear from you down below what your thoughts are as well, before I get into what I think the third theory is. The third theory is I might have made a mistake. Well, definitely I've made a mistake on the weights. See, they're all different. I've just gone on numbers, and I haven't really gone on the weights, the volume of the worm. So that could be where I could have messed up. And also, you know, making the trays all at the same time, putting all the same bedding in and putting all the worms in at the same time, and then feeding them all. I fed them all at the same time, but, you know, obviously they've been filled up over a series of different days. So it's been a really great time making these, and I've learnt a lot from that. And what I'm going to do is I've got some Africans coming soon, possibly some Euro night crawlers as well. So African night crawlers, some Euro night crawlers. I just need to get my hands on them shortly, and I'm going to be running more trials and experiments. I'll mark off the dates a bit more. We'll start getting into weights. We'll start looking more at different foods and different ways to feed them to get a high quality casting. Now, tray number 1, excitingly, I just checked, has about 25% of it's already full of worm castings. There's some eggs on top underneath the newspaper, and down below where there's a catchment tray, there's some eggs down there and castings as well. So it's looking like it's working quite well. I'm really, really excited about it. Anyway, look, the great race it's done and dusted. We got more races coming on the way, more crazy experiments at the Marty's Garden Show based on worm farming, vermicomposting, and all that really cool stuff to do with organic gardening. So I'm going to leave another video here, and here, a subscribe button here. Thanks all for coming and watching the show, and I'll see you at the next video real soon. There'll be another video up in the card somewhere too. Bye for now.